Welcome, everybody. I think some of the attendees or our audience has been with us for the last few minutes, but I just hit record on this live stream program and welcome everybody to SACC-LA's successful series called The Secret of My Success that we've been having throughout 2020 and now rolling into this new year with some fabulous panelists. SACC-LA is a short version of the Swedish-American Chamber of Commerce, and my name is Gudrun Giddings, and I'm the president and chairman of this wonderful organization that I'm very proud to represent today. I'm also sitting in as the moderator. And just for, if there's people that's jumping on right now, I see that there are. If you're not familiar with Zoom, we will not see you and we cannot hear you, but you can communicate with us. There's a little button on the bottom of your screen that has a Q&A, so you can text things there. I can see them. If you have questions, please text them there and we'll try to answer them towards the end. This is only 1 hour long, so it will go really, really quickly, but I'm keeping maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes towards the end for all the audience questions. And I also have some questions that I got in advance for our wonderful panelists. So that is that. Really awesome to have all of you here. I love this fact when I see all the attendees like drop in, like they're all just coming. So anyway, with no further ado, I'm gonna just welcome our panelists as we have today that's gonna speak about what they have going on in their lives and try to give us a little insight. First off, since we go in the order of ladies first, I think this time around, Alice, welcome, and you're calling.
Thank you very much.
You are an influencer, right? Do you want to just talk a little bit, just like a super brief introduction of who you are and what you do? And
okay, so my name is Alice Stenlöf. I'm a Swedish influencer living in Stockholm. And what I do is I work with all my social medias as a full-time job.
That's it? No other job, Alice? Wow.
No, that's my full-time.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious to hear more about it and what you actually do, as many of people, as this is sort of a new job, not new this year, but definitely a new job moving into the global scene. Felix, I would then switch to you because then Alice is in Sweden and then we'll go back to you here in Los Angeles since you're calling from there, though we're all Swedish on this call, but we're speaking English so everybody around the world knows what we're saying. Felix, can you also do the same thing? Just a little brief introduction of who you are.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Felix Strand. I'm currently the president of a beauty brand called Pixi Beauty, based out of LA, but we were founded out of London by a Swedish makeup artist called Strand.
Great. And then back to Sweden again. Feels like I'm like on some sort of a show here where we have like people all over the world, but yeah, exactly. Richard, the same thing for you. Great to have you and thank you.
Thank you. Well, my name is Richard Lindh. I work as head of creators and senior agent at Cube, and Cube is one of the leading influencer marketing agencies within the Nordics. So basically my expertise is within influencer marketing and creators. So I'm actually beautiful Alice Stenlöf.
Yeah, and also a brand new job, sort of ish, you know, like that hasn't.
Yeah, for me, I've been working with it for 3 years.
Yeah, but to me, it's fascinating, you know, with what's going on here because, and that's why we also wanted to have this webinar and our team, it's not just me, but our lovely marketing managers, they thought they also actually came up with the suggestions of including you all because of this is moving so quickly. And especially from this year, 2020, when we've all been working at home and everybody has been in front of their digital devices more so than ever before. You know, I think it has really, like, sort of, we're all on it. People that have not been on social media before are now on social media. And also in just marketing as well, how that's going, because that's, you know, we thought of who do we have? We have many awesome members, of course, but who do we have in our membership group that also has done extraordinary well in digital marketing? And as we are all impressed, and I'm fascinated, and these things will become questions as well, how Felix and his team has managed to have almost 2 million followers on Instagram. You know, like, I find it fascinating. How in the world do you get that, you know, on a beauty brand, you know? So I'm going to ask you that, Felix. Hold the thoughts for now. I do want to, though, go to Alice again, the lady here, and start with her, because I have so many questions and I won't get to them all, and I am saving some for the audience. But how did you decide, or how did you come up with this, that you wanted to pursue this as a career choice, you know, and not just do it as many of my friends do it for fun?
I think what's different is it all started. It was never like a decision for me. I think it just developed into something I could do for a living. So it all started with making content for fun, just like any other person would. And then my following grew, and after that, I was able to do brand deals and keep making content as a full-time job. So I think it all started with me. I graduated school, and I had more time to do what I wanted. And I decided to go travel for a couple of months through Asia. And then I started my blog, where I documented all my pictures for my family and friends. And I also used Instagram for pictures. And after that, I kind of just grew following, because people like the traveling lifestyle. And coming home, I'm from Gothenburg in Sweden. So I came home and didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew like the creative part with creating content and pictures was something that I really liked doing, whether I got paid for it or not. So I think what people I think there has to be like a passion for creating or communicating, rather than having like this idea of I want to become an influencer, because I don't think that is the way to go to make it happen, because nowadays there's so many, and I feel like the audience can really quickly see through like the intention of why you have your social media platform.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, because I think that is a difference of, you know, you're doing it to gain followers or whatever. But I think that is, for me, you know, that is success, or that is how you get good at anything. You just like it, you know, automatically, be it gardening or singing, or like you creating content, you know, I suppose. But so then you did that and you gained a lot of followers, like any one of us could if we wanted to, I suppose. And how did you then transition from that to where you actually now has it at a job? Like, did you call Richard? Did Richard call you? How did you become
I think it was me. Yeah.
So I'm from, as I said, I'm from Gothenburg, which is a smaller city, or like one of the big cities in Sweden, but the smaller one comparing to Stockholm. And in Gothenburg, where I'm from, where I went back to after my travels, there's not really any like media landscape, or like there's no like media offices there, really. Like it's all based in Stockholm. So I did like a year at home after school, after graduating school, working in a clothing store and trying to have time to also create content, which is really hard in Sweden because we have not many hours of daylight. So that was basically impossible to do and be inspired. So I decided to, and I was also starting to get like invitations to different events and companies wanting to have meetings with me, but they were all based in Stockholm, so I could never attend. Like I could never make it happen because I wasn't there, and it's a couple of hours going by train. And so I decided to quit my job and move to Stockholm. And I didn't really have any plan, actually. I just knew that it was something new, something I haven't tried before. And I knew that people that were working as social media creators, content creators, were all based in Stockholm. Like, even if they were, like, they didn't have to be from Stockholm, but everyone moved to Stockholm. And I moved and I lived with a girl that I've never met before in a small apartment, and kind of started to network. Like really, that was what I did. I went to these events that I got invited to, started to meet people like Richard, and like started to get into the business kind of, but more like from inside and not so much like from the sideline as when I lived in Gothenburg. So that was kind of the breaking point for me. I moved to Stockholm and started to see how it really works. And I also started a podcast when moving to Stockholm with a big influencer in Sweden. And so I think starting that podcast, we were both very personal in what we were like discussing in these episodes. Like, we were talking about anything that was relatable as a I don't know, men and women, or like young and or old. We were like talking very openly about subjects that people could relate to, which I feel built this strong connection that I wasn't that personal before, because I thought like that whole idea of being that personal was kind of scary to me. But my friend who I had the podcast with, she is very personal and like helped me open up like that, and it opened up like a new engagement and a new way for my followers to really get to know me. And I feel like the engagement part is really what like social media and influencer as an influencer, that it's basically all that it is, like the engagement from the followers that you have.
Yeah, so that's a good question as well. Thank you. Because I think it is interesting to find how this road sort of works. And I guess it's different for everybody, but this personal take on it is also interesting. And, I'm going to come back to you, Alice, so we can continue that. But I just want to ask Felix, who is really, as the brand marketing, because we're not, like what you're doing on your Insta feed, for example, or YouTube, you have just like you have over 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel as well for Pixi Beauty. You are not as personal, or are you, Felix, on those? But you have awesome pictures, I must say. Like, so how do you think, Felix, that you or the brand Pixi that you're overseeing as the president has gotten so many followers?
Well, I think there's a multitude of things we do that seem to be resonating. I think number one is, we're always about product. So it's not necessarily about being personalized by having me or a makeup artist or something speak directly to somebody about their experience. It's a little bit more about being broadly more educational, about having facts and science, and kind of a little bit more black and white versus opinion. And that creates this kind of authority. Along with that, we try to always be super authentic, super real, and super kind of organic, where you know, we don't generally pay influencers tons of money for posts. What we do is we try to facilitate for them to be able to create content, whether it's about, you know, our products or an event we create or meeting, you know, our founder, things like that. So it's a lot of different things. And I think the underlying thing is that you need to treat everybody like they're not idiots. Treat everybody with respect. They're giving you the time of day to essentially allow you to create content that hits them. That means you need to respect them. You need to make sure that you value them and don't take it for granted. So we always challenge our teams with creating new, interesting, educational, or some type of content that would create value, hopefully, for our fans and followers.
Yeah, I guess I can say that actually, because that's my experience since I gotten to know you and your team. You're very, very genuine, you know, like in your sort of, I guess the company spirit, I would say, and you support a lot of good things. Also, you know, I have to say, I was very impressed because Pixi Beauty, for example, supports other people. They're not just a business company, but they actually reach out and do a lot of good things in the world. They supported just recently Her Majesty Queen Sylvia of Sweden's organization, for example, which I think is amazing. And I know you did that not for a business thing. You did it very genuinely, like a lot of other things that you do around Los Angeles and around the world as May. Maybe that is a key, though. Would you say, Felix, that people pick up on that they're seeing that you're not trying to sell them anything, you're just being like good people, and that's part of why they like you and rather buy maybe your brand instead of going somewhere else? I mean, could there be? I'm just guessing.
I wouldn't necessarily phrase it in that way, but I think you have a point there where, you know, what's happened with influencers is you've had this kind of change in the media industry where before everybody got media from TV or magazines. Now you're getting it from somebody that you feel like they're either a peer or an authority, but a lot more relatable generally. And so what's changed is from traditional advertising where the brand or the spokesperson for the brand stands on a soapbox going, this brand that paid me lots of money or is paying me lots of money makes amazing products. If you take away the incentive for somebody to speak nicely about something, so you don't pay them, you just let the product speak for themselves. So if they like the product or they like the value proposition, they should be speaking about the product because their fans and followers listen to them as authorities. And so we kind of just stand behind our product, are highly confident in what we do, and think we're pretty good at making good product for an accessible price. And so that's just the message we put out there. And that's what we want to continue doing.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, and that is good. I'm with this, you know, when we were preparing to have this webinar, I looked at all of these things. I think the three of you are way more experts in this area than I am. I love marketing per se, but I might not be as good. And I'm trying to figure out the difference, why social media and influencers are quite successful, and there can be a lot of money there, and not just money for the influencers, but also a lot of exposure for the brand. And people around the world have always marketed things, whatever it is. You know, in LA, we spend a lot of money on movies and TV to market them, usually traditionally, but even that traditional marketing have moved over to a digital platform and even gone to influencers that they can say something like, ooh, watch this movie on so-and-so platform. But going, and thank you, Felix. Then going back and exploring this a little more with Richard, who's been following this, and this is your everyday job. I mean, is this the way where we're going, Richard? We're leaving traditional marketing behind. No more big billboards on Sunset Boulevard, all on Instagram or Twitter or whatever new TikTok, whatever new other thing that's coming along. Do you think that that's where we're heading?
No, I don't think that. But when I started out, which is almost, I think like in November, it's 4 years. Every year has been a different influence marketing year. So the industry is like rapidly moving forward, and the channels are changing. TikTok is now, during like the pandemic, TikTok has been exploding. And when I started out, like Instagram stories, that was something that we put on like an add-on. So you can buy like, yeah, I'm buying 5 posts and for one campaign. And then it was like, okay, but we can give you like 2 Instagram stories as well as an add-on. I would say now like Instagram stories is one of our like largest product within, like when you look into the like different channels.
But before, just for the audience as well, before these 4 years, you were still in the same sort of realm of industry. You were in the ad industry in Stockholm, correct? So
Yeah.
you have, am I correct about that, Richard?
Yeah, I wasn't in that. I was in the marketing industry. I've been working with PR
Right.
and red carpet events for tons of years. I think
Yeah.
like 14 years.
Yeah. So you've
So,
been
yeah.
in this world, so to speak. You know, it's not new for you where you just jumped in and became this super agent, you know, out of Sweden. Now you're quite familiar with the world of celebrities and events and how to market yourself properly.
Yeah, and to go back to your question, I think it's when you look at some of the companies that are very successful due to trying out in an early stage the influencer marketing. If you look like to Shimmy Eyewear, which is a big brand in Sweden, or like Nelly, Gina Tricot, or brands like that, they were early adopters to the influence marketing, and you can see now in their growth that it paid off. But I think that's like the important thing is like, because when I started, I was feeling that many companies, the influencer marketing, when you looked into the whole marketing budget, the influencer marketing had like, we were in the experiment box. Mm-hmm. They were like, okay, we can put on some money to experiment and see how it goes. But as for now, I think like we are a big part of the big ecosystem when it comes to the marketing strategies. And that's how we work with our clients. Even though we're working with like strategies and campaigns that are like based within that in social media, we're also like, of course, putting that into their big strategy for their whole marketing for the whole year or for the next 5 years or whatever we're working with. So I don't think that you should say it's taking over, but I think it for sure has its right place, because it's a massive power behind influencer marketing if you do it in the right way, and if you take it seriously, because I think that's super important, that you need to look at it as look at it as a billboard, because it is for sure. And it can also be like, if you don't do it right, your rise can also be your fall in a very quick way.
Yeah, and when I'm saying that, you know, moving from traditional marketing to social media or whatever we call it, the new way of marketing things, it's not just via influencers, but also just period, that everything is going online, and is not like you're no longer buying an ad in the LA Times. You know, we have a big sale this weekend. You're putting it on on an app, or you're pushing it out, or you might be spending money to get it out there, because like in Felix's case, they still have so many followers and are doing so wildly successful worldwide, like truly global expansions. And they are using, you know, if I understand it correctly, or when I look what you have done, Felix, and your team, of course, it's traditional, but it's online. which is fascinating. You know, I always just love your pictures, you know, so I can, even if there's brands in a box, you know, and no person next to it, it's still kind of interesting what you do, because you're really good at those things. And you know, I'm still trying to figure this out, that maybe there are no right answers or wrong answers in regards to it,
but I would say if you're not online with your marketing right now, we need to have a talk.
yeah, and that's exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no longer room for, or not even TV that I remember, you know, where they have ads in between TV programs. You know, who is watching any regular TV anymore? I mean, people are, but obviously they're going elsewhere. So it's a fascinating thing. And again, we can probably have a day seminar about this whole thing of marketing. It's a broad subject and lots of questions, so we can't tap into it all. But just to give a glimpse for our audience and all of these things, 2 questions to you, Richard, before we go back to Alice. How does your sort of everyday work look like as an agent over there? Like, what do you do? Do you scout for, you know, influencers like Alice? Do you, you know, work with bigger brands like whatever, designers like you mentioned, or whatever, might be looking for somebody like Alice? Are you part of creating the content together with your clients, or what do you do during the day?
Good question.
Do you have auditions for people who want to be influencers? Like, I don't know, like I'm asking so the audience can partake and learn.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, what do I do?
Yeah.
No, but as you know, I have 2 roles. So I have like the head of creators role, which is more that I'm working like, then I'm part of, like, we're a big team. We are almost like 40 people divided in Stockholm and Copenhagen. So we're a big team and I'm part of, like, I'm like in the middle, like a big happy spider. But we have like one team that is focusing more of, like, they are working as advisors for our clients. And then we have a project management team that is taking care of all the campaigns, so everything is running smoothly. Then we have a team that is working more with analyst part of it, which is very important. And I am working more as an advisor, this case for like Alice, but also working as an advisor for the team, who to choose for which campaign. And that's changed drastically over the years that I've been working with it. Like in the beginning was more like, the client was more like, yeah, I want to work with this person. And then we could like put the data on that creator. Now it's more like, hi, we would like to work with this data. And then we need to put flesh and blood onto that data. To be very like harsh on it. But so my day-to-day depends what I do, but in my agent role for like Alice, my main goal is for her that she gets the campaigns that she wants, and that they are built up in the way that she thinks is great for her audience. Even though I work closer with her, she's the one that knows her audience. And it's almost 400,000 followers that she has, divided on different age groups, but she's mainly in like targeting like 20, 30, that area.
So she send her pictures to you, Richard, and you say it's okay to post them, or no? Or she just posts them?
No, the thing is,
you, Alice, as well, so we can hear about your day and how you come up with the pictures.
Yeah, no, the thing is that of course we but how it goes is like it's different from client to client, depending on how much they've been working with influencer marketing. But it's very strategic. One campaign that may include maybe like 5 posts in Alice, if you're talking about Alice, like an example. Maybe if there's 5 posts in her feed and 3 Instagram stories and 1 YouTube, the work behind those coming to life is it's a big work, and it's very strategic from the start when it comes from the request from the client, and then usually they are finally very open to listen out, in this case Alice, to see, like, to get also her opinion. In the beginning of influencer marketing, it was more like, this is what we want, and they were more raven and saying, we want you to stand next to a palm tree and hold the product. And that's not the case anymore, as Felix and Alice was into before. It's like, you need to be genuine and authentic, and it needs to be in the way that why Alice followers follow her. If she's doing something outside, they will know, and it will be not as successful.
But if Alice, but it's not only to promote product, obviously, because I have looked at Alice's Instagram, and I know also, Alice, you have a YouTube channel that's quite successful, and you just started a blog as well, just for people, listening in on this, so they can go in there since they'll be all curious about you if they don't already know who you are. But if you're out, Alice, in about tomorrow, and you have a cup of coffee somewhere in Stockholm, and it's really pretty and it's snowing and whatever, and you just want to take a picture of you and a friend or something that has nothing to do with a campaign, then you just do that, correct? Or how does it work? Or is it like very strategized these days now when you are doing?
I feel like nowadays it's less and less strategized. So before, or like just like a couple of years ago, like social media was very filtered and perfect, and had to be like the most epic pictures for influencer to like create content at all and be successful. But now I feel like something that your followers can feel is kind of on the go and not overly planned and more authentic would be something that gets more likes and more engagement. So and like regarding creating content, it's very like, it's not at all strategic. It's more like whatever I'm feeling, whatever I am thinking or doing, I post. So it's not, nothing goes through like my agency, and even like some campaigns I do, it's very like, I give a lot of creative space to do something that is very authentic to me. So I don't think it's hard to like describe, because it's a very
creative, which is not the same. There must be every.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you really have, it could be, I would say that is creative, that you don't have a very structured clocking in, clocking out sort of work. You just do.
No, you have to create your own kind of days.
Yeah.
And it's been a challenge during this pandemic, because now we have to like stay in. We live in a dark country. And I also have an assistant that works with me, and we're working from home and trying to create content together and, I don't know, stay inspired. But yeah, so it's basically everything I feel like and feel inspired by, I try to go by. It's hard to explain, really, because it's one side of it where it's like we're trying to make like this like social media influencer industry like taken serious, because it's so much work behind it that people don't realize and see. But at the same time, it's like I wake up and I have a full day of just deciding what to do.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a weird job, and it's some days I do not much, and some days I work nonstop.
I get it. I think that I totally get that creativeness is not just like an easy job, though sometimes people can look at it that way because you don't have a office to go to and clock in there and sit there and then go home. It's we're in LA, there's a lot of creative here that works 24/7. So it's all good. Totally get that it's a job to be taken serious. And and very much you put your heart and soul into it, which is sometimes even more that you do when you have a traditional job, you know, where you just do something and you can go home and not think about it. Your job is very much you, I presume.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And what I was talking about when me and Alice is working together, that's the campaigns. And when we're talking about when it's strategic, and but that comes like in from when we're working with the client to come up with a campaign, like what kind of audience you want to reach and what kind of target do you have, like in conversion and that stuff. That's like the strategic part. But I would never go in and say to Alice, you should do this in your channel.
Yeah, I don't know. I know how agents
star in that.
Yeah, no, and but I think it is a good question, because I actually thought about it as well, because you know, here I'm used to agents, Richard, agents for actors and directors and whatever, where they do go in and they say, oh, I read the script, or I would like to have a role in so and so. They're very much collaborators, and they say, no, I think you should pass, or so. But I think so. But I see the clock.
In that part, in the commercial part, for sure,
Yeah.
when it comes like when the companies approach us and they want to like have a campaign, of course we have that kind of discussion. Is this good? And do we want to do this?
But some sort of advice that maybe let's not maybe collaborate with this brand because I'm trying to get you this brand, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. But I would never go into in some way master her social channels and say what she should post or not.
Good.
Because that's what's taking her to this level that she is. She's like one of the largest and most unique creators that we have actually at this stage, and that I think is very, you can stretch it enough, because it's not just doing the campaigns.
Right.
Campaigns is one part. That's what make everything bold, like financial wise. But then you need to look at it like, as in Alice's case, she has like her Instagram and she has her YouTube, and she has a big, massive fan base. And it's like having your own TV channel or your newspaper. You need to always give them something to be happy and interested. So it's like, but we work around like when it comes to campaigns, which is very important. It's like, you need to be like, should we do like something that is inspirational? Felix was into that. Should it be inspirational, educational? You need to look at you need to have all those, and entertaining.
Yeah.
Make those three that is a big core to like a successful account. And this is going on 24/7. It's not, everything is not what you see like in the content. It's also what's going on in the comment fields and in the DM and stuff like that.
I'm getting to that before the clock runs out, but I have an important question for Felix as well, because see how we're like 20 minutes left and we haven't even gotten to our audience just yet. We could talk forever, because again, I have so many more questions on my list, but I do want to get to audience questions as well. But Felix, so I mean, this grew out of this wonderful woman, Petra Strand. She started Pixi Beauty. But speaking about marketing, since that is sort of the topic of this webinar, marketing, social media, influencers, all of that, what would you credit to, I mean, when you then started out of London, even though this is from Sweden, you know, because Petra is Swedish, and now you're global. I mean, you're huge, and you're huge here in the United States, which is really difficult. There's a lot of companies from all over the world trying to break into the States, of course. And I know that because you are in some of the biggest chain stores in the United States. Is that your marketing? Did you have a strategy? I presume you had a strategy because you wanted to collaborate with the big stores, like, you know, I'm talking chains like CVS and Target and wherever else you are. I feel like there's Pixi Beauty everywhere I go. But is that due to you're so talented at this? Because I credit a lot of success with companies to just marketing. I really think it is an important part of whatever you do, no matter what business you have.
I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as only marketing. We look at marketing as a way of getting the word out about the quality of the product. Marketing is sometimes seen as kind of a dirty thing where, you know, you're tricking a consumer to buy something or think something or feel something. So for us, the majority of our budget and the majority of what we do is about creating the best possible product and making it available for the best possible price for the most amount of people. You know, we don't think that beauty needs to cost, you know, $100, $200, $300. There's no reason for products to cost that much. And so we like creating the best possible product for the best possible price. And, you know, we're not out there pushing, selling it. It's more kind of a word of mouth, grassroots growth where people have found the product, found that it works, and generally it's a lot better than products that cost, you know, 2, 3, 4 times the price. And I think that is a large part of our success. And then definitely the democratization of media through the digitalization, whether it's through social media or online kind of magazines, has definitely helped get that word out, because before it was the person who had the most money spoke the most on TV or through magazines, and it was tough to break through. Now it's a little bit easier for the smaller brands or content creators to get out there and create a name for themselves.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, good to hear, because I also think that, you know, since we're doing this on behalf of the chamber, and we have had a great lot of good feedback from our webinars, and we never done webinars before. This all started with us because of the pandemic, and we had to find other creative ways. We usually do these sort of panels live, though I'm happy that we are online today, because otherwise we couldn't have Richard or Alice with us. So in a way,
maybe.
Yeah,
I'd love to come.
I know, exactly. But I mean, like that, it's sort of, and I'm also glad because I know that we have some audience members from not only the Nordic countries and the United States, but also other places in Europe, for example. So that it broadens it a little bit, you know, it makes it a lot more fun, and you reach some people. Speaking of, again, I might come back to some of my questions because I could talk about this, and I'm so curious again how all of this works. And I think, you know, Felix, just so you understand as well, I do know that we have some interested parties from our SACC-LA members, and you're also actually on our board as an advisory member, that are really, you know, have expressed curiosity about Pixi Beauty to me because you're doing so well. Because again, I get introduced to a lot of people coming to the United States, especially here in LA, that want in on the global market. So hence my questions to you, like how come you have succeeded? We won't go more into it, but just so you know that you're sort of a bit of a comparison. A lot of people look to Pixi Beauty, it seems like, and saying, what are they doing? You know, can we do the same thing? So we can also go and collaborate and all of that. And also I understand Pixi Beauty, you guys are now expanding into India, which is a billion people market and all of these things. So you're really soon taking over the world. And I know you are like me, you travel a lot, Felix, all the time, but now we're here in LA. You're on a boat, I'm in an office. But we have an audience questions for you, and I might as well just start them. And if I come in there with something that I have on my mind, again, I might have to Richard and Alice, when I come to Stockholm at some point, maybe we have to go and take a coffee because I have way too many.
Of course.
Questions. Yeah. But Felix, this is a question for you from an audience person. What is the most fun about working as the president of this now huge global brand, you know, in your job?
Well, first, thank you for calling us a huge global brand. I wouldn't really characterize ourselves as that. We've still got a long way to go. But the The most fun thing about my job, I think, is the people. You know, we've built a very, very nice group and team across the world. You know, an office in Singapore, office in London, an office here. We have probably 30 different nationalities. And so it's a very eclectic group of people. 50% of the team is from outside the beauty industry. And so it's a very diverse, interesting group of people. And the number one thing we try to do when we hire is just hire nice people. And so it just makes it a pleasure. Most days, you know, there's still tough days, but I think that's the number one thing, just being with the team, being able to create awesome product and trying to, you know, change the industry slowly but surely into being a better place for kind of everybody.
Nice. See, so I'm telling you, Felix, the more I get to know about you, the more impressed I am about all of these things that you, again, support and is doing it genuinely, not at all in the whole marketing sort of a thing. But thank you. That's great. I also have a question. I think this is for Alice. It's from somebody called Robin, who says, if you gain a lot of followers on Instagram, is that channel enough? Or do you see the benefits to add other channels? Well, and it says YouTube and TikTok. I know you have YouTube already, but TikTok or some other things, Alice?
I'm not on TikTok, but I would recommend anyone that's on social media to try TikTok because it's very, very, very fast growing. But I feel like my short answer is yes, Instagram would be enough because it's so much more communicative. Is that a word? No, but I feel like you can communicate so much more than you used to through only Instagram, because YouTube would be more personal like before, but now I feel like you can be just as personal on Instagram if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, great. And then we have also a question. Thanks for this great webinar, SACC-LA. Thank you for being here and being with us. I wonder if Alice could give me any tips on how to increase my online presence or people's engagement via my social media platform. Thank you, from West Hollywood.
Oof, it's hard. It's a tough question. I feel like consistency and like always communicating with your followers. And as Felix said, like hearing what they want more of and what they like and what your like fan base is interested in, and follow that. Because it's really based on them you're able to gain followers. So yeah, just listen to your followers and be consistent in what you're creating and try to like go your own path. Like don't try to like just do everything everyone else is doing that is working for them, because we've already seen that. So people want to see something that's authentic to you. Yep. And not just a copy paste of what someone else is doing. And that's brand wise as well, like companies, big companies, like everyone needs to kind of have like their own way of communicating. Yeah. Whether that's in like text or like simply creative content in pictures or in videos.
Yeah. Consistency is good. I actually have, I think that and being genuine and all of those things. Great, thank you. We'll go further. I have something back to Felix actually from somebody here in Beverly Hills. Do you have any tips on what sort of marketing I should invest in? So I presume this is somebody that maybe has a company or something like this. And then at the same time also, Felix, so what sort of marketing should I invest in? And do you have a personal Instagram?
Yeah, so I do have a private personal Instagram, so not for public consumption. Okay. mostly just to keep my eye on everything. A lot of my job is spent in the digital realm. I personally don't want to be a public person or an influencer, but I need to keep my eye on what's happening, so I have one. And in regards to where to spend your marketing resources, it depends on industry. In the beauty industry, it works with visual stuff. So whether it's Instagram or YouTube, video or photos work. If it's something different, another medium may work better. What I would advise is look at the new up and coming mediums. So, there was a mention of TikTok earlier. TikTok is kind of the newer social media on the block that's working. That means all the larger companies that have a lot more resources than you are still trying to figure out what's happening. So if you're starting out, try with the new platforms, with the new things, because you have less to lose. So you can start trying, learning, and figuring out what works a lot faster than the larger organization. And so that would be my advice on that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And then for Richard, there is, how should I increase my chances of being scouted by an agency such as yours? What do you look for in a collab from Santa Monica here in Los Angeles? So I guess, how do you become discovered and become an Alice?
Yeah.
How do you call you? Can you email the agency? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, of course, you're open to email me, but I would say, like, as Felix said, like, I also have like a personal account. So I spend a lot of time on social media. I've been looking at my screen time, and yeah, it's crazy, but it's a part of my job. So basically, I know of all the influencers basically, and it's like from different how big they are or what they're doing, but how to increase. I think like Alice gave some great advice about how to grow and how to. It's what we've been talking about the entire night, and you need to be authentic, and you need to upload frequently and to get to know your followers. And I think like if you start out with like just your friends and you want to increase that, maybe it's like you need to look into what do you enjoy. Do you love to cook food? Okay, maybe that's the field that you should go into, because it needs to come from passion. Like as you said also in the beginning, Gudrun, it's like that's like if you want to get successful, you need to come from within, and it can't be forced. You need to be. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for authentic creators that are creating and gaining engagement, and that can give value to the brands that we're working with.
So I guess because I think that is actually a lot of people that I speak to, and that are, the new generation, so to speak, they love this social media and they want to all become influencers. Before, even here in Los Angeles, people came here and wanted to be actors. Now they come here and they are coming to be influencers. It's changed.
Yeah.
But I suppose, Richard, so I can give this back to this person that asked this question, that was actually here in LA. It is more of they should just keep on posting, and you might discover them anyway, but they can always send you information and say, ooh, I have 100,000 followers, like, or
yeah, but you can have 5,000, you can have 10,000, you can have 4 million. It depends. It doesn't really matter how many followers you have. It's like, of course, you need to have some kind of like reach and engagement, because that's what it's all about. But we have like different campaigns, and it's like we are also working with like working with like tracking and stuff like that, so you can promote like it's not a campaign in that way, but you can like use an ad link, and you can gain like that can be a great way to like collect your data and see how you perform.
yeah.
It's different various of tools that you
different
use.
things for everybody, and I suppose because we have a huge various audience, we have everybody.
The thing is that what is wonderful with social media is like you can be the executive producer or the editor-in-chief. It's your channel, And you are and if you look like into TikTok, you can be a star overnight. They have like their algorithm is actually it's very fast forward and quick. So if you can gain like even if you have like 100 followers on TikTok, you can overnight get like 500,000 views on your video. And if you keep on doing that stuff, of course, the algorithm is like, oh, this guy is cool. Let's give him more, like it's called For You page in TikTok. And that's what everyone is aiming for, to get on that For You. So I think TikTok is a good channel because then you can be like very lazy with a glass of Coke or wine and just, and TikTok will feed it to you. Like if you look like into like Instagram, you need to be more precise what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, great. And speaking about TikTok, this is a question from me. Richard, you that have like sort of the pulse on this, you know, you're definitely an expert in this area. So TikTok, I suppose, is like the newest thing that I know of. I know there's possibly other things coming up. What do you predict? Is there another thing? Have you heard anything else buzzing of another platform that's coming soon or is different or whatever? Like, I mean, I'm talking about to the mainstream, like that you think will hit big a year from now. Do you know? Can you give us?
I don't have a specific platform to give you that you can bet your money on, but you can see if you look to like what happened with like social media during the pandemic is like it increased a lot, and you can see it like people over 65. I think it was like 10%. I think this is Swedish numbers, but I think like 10% of people over like 65 entered,
which is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, and it's a revolutionary when it comes to marketing, because they were like, before it was like social media or like influencer marketing was more like targeting the younger generation, but now it's like because we are social creatures, and so that's why social media has been, I think, like for like an advertiser, it was a secure place to put your marketing money in, because it was, even though the big tabloids had like, they have never had that much people viewing their sites, but no one to buy an ad next to death, to be harsh. But so we could like within influencer marketing, we could say we can provide marketing within like a secure and warm and very trustworthy field. So, and like you can just see like the live streams, and that was a big trend during the pandemic, because we need people, like we are seeing each other now. I would love to hug you all, but I can't, but I can see you, and that gives me some warmth in my heart. So I think like some boring friend sometime told me like, yeah, but you're not saving lives. But I actually think, maybe not me myself, but I think for sure that Alice and her colleagues within the industry are for sure saving lives, because I was a gay guy in a small countryside, and if I had like that close relationship that I can get like with Alice, I can actually get a response from my fan or someone that I adore. I think that gives them courage to.
Yeah, I think that is probably speaking about and why I think that online platforms have exploded during the pandemic. I do believe as well, as humans, we are social, we're herd animals, like they use that phrase in Sweden, but we really like to be together with other people. It's okay to be alone over here and there, whatever, but you want to share. If you see a movie, you want to share it. If you food, whatever you do, you do want to feel close. And I think that is important, because we have been so unfortunately had to be separated in order to slow the spread of the virus. But I think that, can you imagine if this had happened like 15 years ago or even longer, with nothing online or whatever? It would have been really hard on people, I think, from a social perspective. So yeah, no, thank you. That's actually a good point, because that's not just about business or money or fame or glory. That is a very human aspect of it as well, to not feel maybe so alone by yourself. You can connect with other people, even if it is on a platform. So I see that we're running out of time and I'm soon going to stop. But one last question for Alice then. We have, where do you find your inspiration for all the ideas that you post online? Is it Paula is asking, or Paolo, sorry.
Through social media. It's where I look for all my inspiration. So other content creators, it could be anything, but definitely through social media. So I hope to inspire, and I get inspired through social media. So everything's based, it starts there and it ends there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. And as for each one of you, I have at least 10 more questions. My team behind this can attest to that because they've seen the questions. So I could go on and on, but we are at the end of this hour. I really think this has been wonderful. I feel like we just tipped into this little iceberg, but it's been such a pleasure to have you and all of you. Alice, thank you so much. Tack så jättemycket.
Thank you.
You're doing fantastic. We will keep on following you to see whatever happens, and I hope to meet you in Stockholm or in LA soon, because meeting in person is also nice. And the same thing, Richard, with you and your colleagues and this agency. Very, very curious. I'm sure I'm going to have questions from many of people behind this who might want to get in contact with you, or, all of these things. So do the same thing. We'll have a coffee. So as soon as I can travel, I'll be in Stockholm. And Felix, I am here. I'm, coming social distancing with you with a mask on the boat that you have. But thank you. And thank you also, Felix, since I do know you, for everything that you do for the chamber and for a lot of other good things that you do in the world that you don't ever talk about, but that I know personally that you do. I think that's hugely important and definitely makes a lot of changes for a lot of people, and for partaking and sharing some of your expertise, and to our audience for hanging out with us in the middle of January, be it in the sunshine or in the snow or wherever you are in the world. It's 1 hour and you can do a lot in that hour. So I appreciate that you spent it with us. And until next time, thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Gudrun.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.